today on the show, we're lucky enough to be joined by one of the cast members for And Juliet, the understudy Juliet, Grace Mouat. Say hello to Tamworth.
Hello, Tamworth. How you doing?
It's great to have you on the show. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So you've been involved in the project And Juliet since the very beginning, since Manchester. So I'm just wondering, what kind of changes were made throughout the preview run?
Sorry, I'm just coming inside.
That's all right.
Oh, there were so many changes. But I think that's kind of like the beauty of working on a new musical.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's quite hard when like you fall in love with a song or you fall in love with a scene, and then like you come in the next day and the creatives are like, oh, really sorry, but we've cut that song. You're like, no. So an example of that is do you know Adele's song, how's it go, send my love to your new lover?
Yeah, I know that one.
That was in And Juliet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was kind of like, it was Juliet and the nurse singing to Romeo, being like, see ya, boy. Do you know what I mean? It's like but you know, there's so many girl power moments in it, I think. But that was the moment I loved. Also, Since You've Been Gone was like a mashup with Problem.
Oh, right.
And Can't Feel My Face. Like there was a massive mashup in the wedding party, but they kind of felt like Since You've Been Gone like needed its own moment, like because it's such a big moment, it's such a big song, and it's brilliant start to Act 2. So yeah, that was changed. But I'm so glad that both songs stayed in there. But yeah, there was loads of changes, but all for the best, I think. And again, as I say, that's the beauty of new musicals. You kind of see this development happen. It's so cool.
And it turned into this incredible show now, this crazy, but it really does work, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it works so well. And I think it just really opens people's eyes to being like wow, Romeo and Juliet is such a tragic ending, and like this kind of female empowerment shift on it was so needed. I think people really enjoy seeing it in this new light and being like, see, that's a better ending.
So I went into it thinking, how is this going to work? I was a bit curious, but then I saw it and I thought, wow, this is really, really good what they've managed to create with it.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's such an honor to be part of it. I'm just so shook every night. I'm like, I can't believe this is even a thing.
And another show that you were involved in that you wouldn't think works but really does is Six, the musical as well.
Yeah.
You were involved in that from the beginning as well, weren't you?
Yeah, so I came into the show in the original cast of the current production. So the original cast I kind of refer to as the showcase cast, who did the studio recordings. So you know, like Renee Lamb, Christina Modestu, they kind of like made the roles. But I kind of came into the whole new production where they were kind of like, okay, this is going to be like the setting stone production. So yeah, I had such blast on that. You know, it was amazing. I was the first person to cover in it, and it was just really cool being part of the show when it was kind of blowing up, and we got to like see all the cool stuff happen around us. So yeah, I really missed it. I loved it so much.
So out of those two shows, could I ask you if you have a favourite, or is that too difficult a question to ask?
I think it's a difficult question to ask because they are so different.
Yeah.
Like there's things I love about the other. So like, for example, like just the fact that Six is 75 minutes long, and like you're on stage all the time. It's like this really fun, crazy train that you don't get off 75 minutes. And then, you know, and then also I guess with Six, like, being in a small cast, being in a cast of, well, we started as a cast of 7, and then when I left we were a cast of 9, 10. There's nothing like it, like being in you can't help but be so close, and that is such a special thing that I will never forget. But then with Aunt Juliet, like, it's just big. That's like the one word I think when I think of the comparison, like the set, the costume changes, like the pyros and the cast, like the length of the show, everything's so full out. It's just like an actual epic musical, you know. That's the first time I'd kind of been part of that, and it was just, yeah, it was just a bit crazy seeing all this like moving furniture and stuff like that. It's just so cool.
So you can't decide.
I can't, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, never mind. Okay, so obviously we're both at home now, but you have been keeping yourself very busy. You've started a YouTube channel as well. Would you like to tell us all a bit about that?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, I guess it was something that I'd been wanting to start for a very long time, but I was kind of umming and ahhing and just worrying about what people were going to think of me. And then I kind of, when lockdown happened, I'd previously done a YouTube takeover.
Yeah.
My first ever YouTube takeover on a channel called Bryony Rose, who's a lovely musical theatre vlogger, and it went down an absolute hit. And people were like putting in the comments, I should start a YouTube channel. And also I was watching the video back and like kind of thinking like, oh my God, YouTube videos are such an amazing way to like document memories and like document your life. So for example, I like documented getting a puppy, and that's going to be really nice when she grows up and I can look back at the videos and be like, oh, look at how small she was when I went to pick her up and things like that. Because it's all very well like taking a picture, but there's just something about videos, you can see connections and things like that. And then also just in lockdown, it's really encouraged me to like do some fun things. So like do some baking and cooking and challenges and things like that, challenges with my parents. And it's just been a nice thing to like keep me busy in general, and has kept me so busy. So those kind of things really outweighed me ever caring about what anyone thought of me, because I was just kind of like, if they don't want to subscribe, they don't have to subscribe. You know.
Fair enough.
So yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying like seeing it grow and getting all ideas from people. Like I'm always welcoming ideas of what people think I should do. So if anyone's watching and thinking of a good idea, drop me a message.
Go for it. And would you like to say that the name of the channel, just so people can get to it easy?
Yeah, so it's literally just Grace Mouat, Mouat, and if you're typing it on a link, it's Grace Mouat /channel / Grace Mouat vlogs, I think. Okay. But yeah, I just kept it as my name, keep it standard.
Yeah. And then also the last thing we're going to talk about before we go into a song is you got yourself involved with a completely new musical, completely original concept and songs called Halls. Now, what can you tell us about that?
So Halls is basically 8 characters. So I want to say 8 or 9.
Yeah, eight in the video.
Yeah, and it's similar to 6 in terms, in the sense of there's no lead. So the show follows all of them, and it's amazing. Similar to 6 again, that anyone can play any part, no matter your race, ethnicity, like sexual identity, anything, which I absolutely adored, because you know that's that's this theatre that we need right now. So I was so excited to be asked to do it. It kind of follows people who, the opening number that you're about to hear is them preparing to go to uni, and then they go to uni, and it kind of follows their journey and goes into things like student loan, like problems within relationships, self-identity, self-discovery, and all of those relationships. There's also things like, you know, like pre-drink song and playing beer pong and like all those fun things that you do at uni that sometimes people forget about. And and all the different characters climax at different moments, and it's honestly gonna be awesome. It's like a British Heathers kind of thing. But with kind of like rockier music. Like it's very influenced on like Scouting for Girls, and that's the band that I think of when I hear the music. You know, it's kind of pop rock, and there's some absolute tunes in it. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how it grows and stuff, because I think it's going to be mega.
Yeah, and I think it's going to grow quite well, because this new generation of kind of musical theatre fans, being quite young, they can relate to all the things that go on in the show.
Oh, definitely. And loads of people, when we brought the video out, loads of people commenting, like tagging their uni mates in it, being like, oh my gosh, there's a musical about uni. Like, I wonder if they'll have this in it. I wonder if they'll have that. And the writers, George and Jen, who are an absolutely gorgeous couple, they kind of wrote it based on some of their experiences and things like that. So it's definitely going to be a very like relatable musical, especially if you've been to uni. But even if you haven't been to uni, like there's going to be so much relatable content in terms of like just growing up and like adolescence in general, and like discovering who you are. Like you don't have to only watch it if you've been a uni student, you know. There'll be stuff that everyone can relate to in it.
And now we're lucky enough to go and listen to is it the opening song from Halls?
Yes, yeah, it is.
The opening song from Halls. Here is Flat 15B, starring Grace Mouat. So that was the wonderful new song from the new musical Halls, which is going to premiere in the UK very, very soon. But now, if you've just tuned in, we're joined today on the show by Grace Mouat, a cast member of Six and Juliet at the moment. Say hello to Tamworth again.
Hello, Tamworth.
It's great to have you on the show. Wonderful to have you here. So now, though, we're going to have to talk about some of the more worrying things about the arts. Obviously, we're both at home. We're not where we want to be, like in a theatre or anywhere. So what do you think is going to happen with the future of the arts? Do you think that it'll come back in a big way, or it'll take a little bit of time before things get back into how they were?
Yeah. So kind of what I mentioned previously before we started recording, I find comfort in the fact that I know we will come back.
Yeah.
But it's more, the worry is more when, and the worry is more like which companies and which shows are going to survive with this long amount of time. Well, I say long amount of time, no one even knows how long it's going to be. And that's the difficult thing. But in terms of like the industry and the arts, I just can't see it being like cut. I can't see it like never happening. Just people would just refuse, even if there was no theatres. Like people would find some way to like do like outdoor concerts or something like that, or like theatres will start taking over village halls and things like that. I know that it'll come back. I know it will. But something that I'm trying to like remind some of my friends too, who are worrying about this time, is I am not going to go back to work unless I feel safe.
Yeah.
London is literally the hub of this virus at the moment. Like it's just crazy. And like obviously tourism and theatre probably actually played a big part in that, because of the amount of tourism, and then the like all those people going to sit in a stuffy theatre and things like that. So I don't want to go back to work unless I'm being safe.
Of course.
Which I'm sure a lot of casts will feel. I heard so many rumours about like the way the audience is going to work. Like, are they going to take seats out? Are the actors all going to stand 2 meters apart on stage? Are they going to have to wear masks? And if I'm completely honest, apart from the audience 2 meter thing, I think that whole thing with the masks and 2 meters on stage is just impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a two-hander play about coronavirus and it's okay to wear a mask, you know. With a musical, especially and Juliet, it just can't happen. So I think we basically just need more support and more information and just more attention. They need to actually like have a meeting and discuss options, and then chat to us about it, tell us the ideas, like find out from theatre professionals if that's even going to work. Like, you know, all these rumors about not singing, it just blows my mind. So I'm trying my best to not listen to them, because when the information comes out, the information is going to come out and then I'll know. But yeah, as I say, I don't think that theatres will be back until 21, but especially the West End. But I'm just trying to find comfort in the fact that I'm hoping that the theatre industry will come back when it's safe.
Yeah, well, theatre always does find a way, and I'm sure it will find a way eventually as well. But also another thing that's become really, really it's always been a big issue, but now it's been more brought to light, is this Black Lives Matter movement as well. And I feel like that is going to cause a considerable amount of change in the way that the arts industry works. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's gonna happen, or how is it going to change things?
I think, oh wow, I mean, Twitter has just kind of been a hub for information and ideas, and like like things that people want to change about the arts, and there's so long to go on it. And I think this time, especially the fact that we're not in work, hang on, just give me 2 seconds.
That's
I'm going to
fine.
shut the door. Oh, this is my puppy's bell. I think just the fact that we have got the time, because we're on lockdown, we're not working in the theatres. Producers and theatre investors and theatre makers have no excuse to take the time to not take the time to research into ways they can make this better. I think there needs to be a discussion on the term BAME. I think when people just put in casting breakdowns that this role is going to be a BAME performer, like that kind of dismisses the like obvious fact that like me as an Asian person, a half Asian person, has a different experience to a half black person or a black person or
of course,
a fully Asian person. Like we all have different experiences, so why are people putting us into this one category of BAME? I think that they need to change breakdowns to we are seeing performers of all ethnicities. Would really be more comforting for me, because then that avoids the whole thing of when someone gets a certain role, people going, oh, I get it, they cast her because she's BAME. You know, that's so unfair, and that needs to stop. So I think just people need to start taking leaves out of books from Six, Hamilton, you know, the people who just have these musicals and have these roles that they see everyone for them. I also think that it's amazing that they're finally realizing things like hairspray in schools when people don't have enough black people to play that ensemble cast and those leads, and they, you know, use white people. It's just completely wrong.
I saw that, and I couldn't believe it wasn't already the case.
I know, honestly, it just blew my mind. But I'm really glad that things like that have been brought to light. I'm really glad some people speaking out about their stories, not only in like the arts industry but also in TV. You know, there's, and like, you know, the music industry. Lee from Little Mix had her story, Alexandra Burke, like they're all kind of sharing their stories, and people are realizing now more than ever, now people feel that the conversation is open enough for people to speak about it. I also think that in terms of drama schools, they've got a long way to go in terms of teachers, creatives, like actively seeking out black people to audition, instead of just being like, oh well, you've got to come to us. You know, it's not about that, and there just needs to be more support, more conversation about like language, treatment, and definitely. But I think I'm with this whole thing, I'm seeing the whole arts, musical theatre, drama school world becoming a really political space, which is so exciting, and it's so positive moving forward, because it like makes me feel hopeful that when we do go back, it's going to be such an open conversation, and people are going to be more willing to learn as well, because I think that's another thing that people, not only people with white privilege, but even myself as a person of color, I have privileges, and I have privilege as a mixed race person. You know, we all experience it, and I think it's just so important that people are willing to learn about it more and realize it. So there is a long way to go, but we're starting to make a lot of progress now, and as theatres reopen, I'm sure we'll see a lot more things happening there. But for all the people listening at home that maybe aren't a casting director or aren't a producer that can make like large scale changes like that, what can they do at home to kind of help this? I think it's just about normalizing it into your life. So a lot of people are worrying on Instagram about it becoming a hashtag or a trend, which it isn't. Like this has to go on until it goes, which unfortunately is not going to happen anytime soon. So people need to still be posting about it on their social media. Don't use the excuse that you don't have a platform, because if you can change one person's opinion or one person's views, that is progress in itself. But also don't be afraid to like still post your normal content, because that's a fear that people are having at the moment as well. And I think that's dangerous, because that does then make it this like separate movement, where I personally think the movement needs to be incorporated into our normal lives. I also think that it's about, if you don't even have social media, and you hear people using the wrong terms. So, for example, things like half-caste, things that some people are innocently using and not realizing the repercussions. It's just about politely calling them out, and making people realize that these terms aren't correct anymore. And then they'll probably come back and be like, oh, I can't say anything anymore. And you've just got to be like, no, you can't. And here's the reason why. And just doing it in like a calm, intelligent manner, I think is very beneficial. And also just incorporating Black culture into your life and not making it so separate, like watching films to understand, reading books, reading anti-racism articles, reading articles about the slavery that Black people experienced. Like just understanding what they've been through can help so much. And I think just small things like that, it's just so easy. And I think people are worrying like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like even just getting a petition link and sending it to 10 of your closest mates, being like, I'd really appreciate you signing that is progress in itself. It's not about going out, and because some people can't go out and protest because they have vulnerable family members. If you can't, it doesn't mean you can't protest from home and still do the work. There's no excuse really.
There you have it. There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
Any little thing you can do, obviously, it makes a big difference. Okay.
100%.
So we're coming towards the end of the interview for the show now, and I always like to end on this one question for every guest. It's a great question. I love it. But you might not love it so much. What is your favourite musical and your favourite song from that show? But the catch is you can't have worked on it professionally.
Oh, well, I've only done 2 shows, so that's fine. It's so hard.
I know.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I love Legally Blonde.
Okay.
I just love it at the moment.
Fair enough.
At the moment, Legally Blonde and Kinky Boots have kind of been my feel-good show tune.
Good choices.
Cast albums. Yeah, when you're just like, you know what, I need a song.
Yeah.
So can I choose them both and pick a song from each?
Yeah, you can go for that. Yeah, go for it.
So Legally Blonde, my favourite song is So Much Better.
Okay.
And Kinky Boots, my favourite song is Sex is in the Heel.
Nice one. Nice choice. Good choice there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just writing those down so I'll get them on the show later on.
Oh, yay! Yeah, they're my feel-good songs.
Well, it's been wonderful having you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen at home, Grace Mouat, star of And Juliet, and before that, Six the Musical. Thank you for joining Radio Tamworth.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. Thank you.